everybody. Welcome once again to Nerds with Alcohol. I'm Russ.
And I'm Chris.
And this is episode 171. Welcome to the Nerd Basement, everybody. We're giving this a shot, doing something new. This is our first live Twitch stream of of our show here in drinking and Nerds with Alcohol, Drinking Nerds on Twitch. So welcome to anybody that decided to join us. It looks like I'm not seeing anybody in the chat room just yet, but hopefully we'll see somebody.
Yeah, I just realized I actually accidentally had it playing in the background, so I was getting double. So if people were getting double the feedback there,
I realized I could hear it because I had the audio going on the page.
So yeah, this is all new.
All new.
Hey, there's somebody in the chat. Ed says hi.
Oh, yeah.
What's up, you tools?
What's up, you tools? Yeah.
So yeah, this is something brand new for us. Hi guys.
Yeah, hey, buddy.
We
this is pretty cool.
Yeah, and there's
yeah, welcome guys. This is something new. I mean, Chris and I had to kind of actually mostly it's pretty much all Chris. I just sat on Skype and said, "Yes, I can hear you." "No, I can't hear you," or "I can't see you." But Chris figured this out, and for us to do this via mobily, yeah,
pretty quickly too. Because I mean, this was just something that I thought of earlier today, and so I spent my lunch hour doing this, and pretty much all of the time since I got out of work.
Yeah, I do realize I should probably maybe shave next time or something. Maybe.
Well, I'm actually thinking I will probably be shaved by the next time because I'm actually planning on shaving this week.
Oh yeah,
so, yeah.
Can you get rid of that frosty beard of yours you got going on?
Yeah, as I think it was my brother-in-law asked Renee, when I was going to get rid of the Santa Claus beard. So.
Well, gotta admit, I mean, there's few things that make a dude look older quite often than, a gray beard.
Yeah, and this one definitely does make me look older, although I've gotten used to it now. I mean, I kind of like it. And for the winter, it was nice, but...
Well, it suits you, but, I mean,
Renee likes it, so that's all that really matters.
Ultimately, yes. It was funny. One of my buddies down in Florida, like he had a Van Dyke or goatee, whatever, and he shaved it off this year, and he looked like a whole different person. Looked 10 years younger, and I was just like, holy crap! I'd never seen somebody, I mean, he's already a good-looking guy, he's a decent-looking guy, running around 30, 32, something in there. But he just shaved, and it was like, holy crap, that looked really good, man. I mean, he already had looked good before, but this was transformative. It was crazy. So Tavi should have shaved a long time ago. He probably doesn't watch, but yeah. So how's your week?
Well, a lot of staying at home.
Yeah.
Not a lot of
first week of quarantine.
Yep, made it through. No, the first of now many, because of they're now talking extending this all the way through the end of April now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because they originally were saying pretty much like till mid-April,
and
now they're saying maybe till the end of April.
Yep. But yeah, so made it through. Worked from home. I actually have found that one of my biggest stressors in the world is my commute.
Oh, right on, yeah.
Because I am so much. I have had so much less stress this week. I'm still doing all the work. I'm actually probably doing more work than I normally do. I leave my desk less often. I'm actually sitting right now in where I normally do my work. But yeah, I rarely leave my desk. Not nearly as much as I do when I'm in the office. I'm getting a lot of stuff done. I'm feeling productive, and I don't have to deal with the commute. And that right there has made my life so much better. I mean, I'm not watching the clock at the end of the day.
Sure.
Because I'm not trying to beat traffic. I'm like, hey, it's 5:00. Oh shit, it's 10 after 5. I should probably log off. That type of thing. So it's been nice. I like it.
That's great. Stella was actually saying, she gets very anxious from driving, and our driving is, a major kind of stressor for her. And because we've been pretty much like, sedentary, sitting at home, we she's worried that when we do go back to driving, that it's going to be even worse, that her anxiety levels are going to shoot through the roof. So, um, I don't know. I just realized I should probably move this out of the camera. I've got we've got like our kind of our paper products over here. I don't want people to like storm my house going, "Hey, you've got, oh my God, he's got toilet paper."
Yeah, my house got TP'd last night. It now appraises for $750,000.
Oh man, but yeah, it's got to be great to. I wish that there were times when like I could do my job like from home, but you can't really build floats from home.
Yeah,
I'm hoping.
tough.
Yeah.
Especially without a
Now,
garage.
yeah, exactly. Now they were saying, like, yeah, even if it does, the quarantine does go until the end of April, it doesn't really affect me a ton because I wouldn't usually be going back to work until the end of April, like end of April, early May. So I'm still just kind of just chilling, Um, I got in last Wednesday, and we did record an episode last Thursday, but I've been just kind of getting used to being back at home and trying to sit down and do some artwork and do some sketching and whatever. I've got a bunch of projects I need to get to. I still need to 3 years in, I need to design a decent logo for us. And it's ridiculous. And I mean, some other projects that I want to get to, but I also am getting really distracted by just trying to do stuff around the house that need to get done, do various unpacking and things and taking care of this dog. I swear, Stella and I should survive this quarantine, unscathed. Unfortunately, Dresden may not. This damn dog is driving me crazy. And I think Stella is graciously kind of keeping him distracted for us. But
yeah.
I'm expecting him to join us at some point.
Well, the our two here, they're I think are going to be like heartbroken when we go back to work, because with both of us here, there's been one time in the last 8 days that Belmont's had to go in his kennel.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, the chat just jumped up for me.
A little bit. You guys look different than you sound. Guess that's radio. I don't know who Wise Beyond is, but
that is my brother-in-law Pete.
Oh, is that Pete?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. DJ Strobe 13. Wow, look at that beard. Yeah, it's pretty.
Oh, hey, Steve's watching us from Belfast. Hey.
Oh, well, son of a bitch. Hey, Steve. Nice for you to join us. Thank you.
Yep.
Nothing like your friends watching your Twitch stream.
Well, yeah, considering it's 1 o'clock in the morning there for him, or midnight.
Holy shit.
Midnight, actually. They're only 4 hours behind us right now.
Yeah. Steve, tell us, is Ireland going through a similar kind of quarantine situation? I'd love to hear about that a little bit. Yeah, I'm wondering.
I actually talked to him last week because we did do our D&D game on Saturday. And he was saying that, yeah, they're pretty much on lockdown as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's off, I think, for 12 weeks, I believe it is. But, they are pretty much on lockdown just like everybody else. Social distancing, the whole deal.
It's like, this really is changing the world.
Yes.
It's changing the way things are people are doing things, and I think even when we go back to normal, a lot of things are going to be different. Thankfully, the bill did get passed. We will be receiving federal aid. Beyond. Actually, I've been on unemployment because of being unemployed from the parade company, but they extended the unemployment benefits, and they've actually suspended the work search, so that's kind of cool. I probably, like I said, I probably won't need the whole thing. Like I should silence my phone. I probably won't need my unemployment forever because the studio, I would assume as soon as we can go back to work, we'll go back to work, because we got to start making floats, But even so, I mean, I've got quite a bit more, a few more weeks now, and um, but I really think this stuff is going to this situation is going to change the way a lot of things are done. And I'm going to actually bring it up a little bit later on in the show, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. What are you drinking?
Well, first, I wanted to say welcome to everybody. Welcome to the Nerd Basement, plural.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, mine's not the basement.
uh,
Mine's my
your
my
your
my
your library.
office slash
Yeah.
library slash computer room. But yes, it is. I do have a nerd basement. But
Yes,
it's
you
not
do.
in.
You have the vault.
I have my vault. Yeah. Which
Um,
is something else I want to do. I got like a bunch of comic books to put away.
mm-hmm.
Oh,
All right, so what I am drinking is a beer that I actually just happened to cross when I was out at the store getting supplies for the lockdown. This is the last one I have of this particular one, and I'm kind of sad because it's really good. But it's called Snow Machine IPA. It's by Big Lake Brewing. It looks like that, so I can actually show off the can. It is. Let's see. Does it have the ABV on here? Yeah, there it is. 8% ABV, 90 IBUs, an IPA for all winter activities, even waiting for summer to return. It is a nice kind of golden color. Show off the glass here. You can't see that it says nerds
nice.
with alcohol.
yeah.
But it is a nice golden color. Doesn't really have much of a head. It does have a little bit of glass cling, so that's kind of nice. It's very you get a lot of the hops, but it's not so much tropical hops. Well, there is some tropical in there too, but it's got a mix of kind of earthy and tropical. I'm gonna take another sip. It's not overpoweringly hoppy, and I think that's one of the things I really like about it. It does have a little bit of the orange flavor, but also got like some of the it's almost like an orange peel bitterness type of thing. It's got that bitter finish, but it's also really dry at the end. So I really like this. I have liked everything that I've had by Big Lake Brewing. They actually became one of my favorites a couple years ago, and every single thing that I've tried from them, I have really liked. So yeah, Big Lake Brewing, I believe they're in Holland, Michigan. I will definitely be hitting them when I head back to that side of the state sometime. But yeah, if you can find it, I don't know how long it's going to be around, if it's still around. But yeah, I just happened to find it in a bottle shop that I was at. So really good. I'm going to give that probably 4.25 stars out of 5. So it's really good.
Okay.
So, all right, what are you drinking?
Well, I'm drinking like some of you guys might have seen. This is what I had. We got some Mosa here from Star Cut Ciders. I've reviewed it a number of times. It's fantastic. It's really just a great, refreshing orange hard cider. It's fermented with Michigan apples blended with orange juice, and it's perfect. You know, guys, you got to check this out. If you let's see if you get a good look at the thing. You can find it in a lot of places locally. You can find it I found it at Kroger. So, I mean, any place you can find Star Cut Ciders, which is local. They are a local cidery
they're out of
brewery.
Bel Air. That's Shorts Brewing's cidery.
Elk Rapids, Michigan.
Yeah, they're actually, I believe that it's Shorts Brewing that does them.
Yeah, I believe you're correct. But it's really just a really great cider. You know, it tastes like a mimosa. You know, it's really fucking great. So I get this pretty regularly, but I just gotta get to the liquor store. So, and my budget is budgety. So
Your budget is budgety.
It's budgety. So anyway, Mosa from Starcut. Check it out, guys. I mean, I've reviewed it a number of times, but it is really fantastic.
Cool.
So, yeah.
So yeah, Snow Machine and Mosa. So yeah, so welcome again, guys. This is kind of weird. Russ and I have been doing this type of thing where we Skype quite a bit over the last few years with his trips to Florida, but this is the first time we're actually doing it where other people can see us. So
Yeah, a little odd,
yeah, it's kind of cool though.
but
It's
it's
a
okay.
new way to
I like it.
connect.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Like I said, this is something. This is changing the world.
Yes.
This is not. This is something that I think is going to affect people for a long time. I'll tell you one thing: when we are, able to hang out again and talk to people and go and and be in the same room with people again. I mean, you still can. That's one of the things that people are like. It's not like we can't you can't get together with your friends. It's just to be safe. A lot of people are choosing not to to only associate or at least be in the same room with people that you live in the same house with. Um, but this is going to definitely change things. I mean, people are creating more online gaming situations. I mean, I've discussed it with both of the gaming groups that I'm with about what we can do about possibly starting a Skype game or something like this, either on Discord or whatever else, or on Google Hangouts or whatever. D&D is seeing a spike in playing these days. I mean, I had a number of friends down in Florida that are playing for the very first time because they're like, hey, I've always wanted to, and this is my opportunity, and I'm bored out of my mind, so might as well start a D&D game. I actually told my friend Linda about Hero Forge because she was creating her first character, and I go, oh, you should. Actually, another friend of hers was like, hey, I made my character on this app online, and I went, was it Hero Forge? And she goes, yeah, I think it was. And so I told my friend Linda about it. And Linda she spent the next 2 hours just fucking with her phone, just holy crap, making the perfect thing. She said she must have made half a dozen characters, so it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to, since I supported their Kickstarter, I'm looking forward to that coming out, because one of the other things that I got with that is I have a year's worth of time on their token maker, their custom token maker for things like online games. And so I already plan on going in and making tokens for a bunch of my NPCs, for making custom tokens for my characters, the guys that play in my campaign, all their characters, that type of thing, for especially for the Roll20 game.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, it's such a great app, and I mean, eventually I'd love to get to design minis for my characters and make them. I probably wouldn't have them painted. I'd paint them myself, but it's been a long time since I've done that. So
yeah, I actually just primed my mini that I had made at Hero Forge and Renee's mini. So we're going to be painting those probably this weekend.
That's awesome. Speaking of D&D, Critical Role did actually posted a thing about an update for the animated series. They are still working for it on it and stuff, but the level 20 or the $20 contribution level, they're going to be sending out some of the things that you earned that were unlocked at the $1 million mark, and I believe I contributed $20, so I should be getting an email saying, oh, here's your soundtrack. The thing is, they've actually said that the soundtrack, we probably it has to still be made and written and stuff, so that will be coming later. But I think one of the things that was available was a ringtone and some other things that we'll be getting. So some of the earliest, some of those prizes, basically, stretch goals, stretch awards for some of the lowest tiers will be going out soon. So that's pretty fucking cool. I thankfully, it seems to me that is in the early enough stages. The Critical Role, production is in the early enough stages that I don't think that that the coronavirus is really affecting it all that much. So.
Yeah, they were. I saw the thing that was talking about it, and I read that article or that email today, as well as watching the karaoke version video that they put along with it. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I saw about that. Yeah,
But yeah, so that was kind of interesting. Oh, and I'm looking at that poster you were telling me about earlier too.
Yeah, so there's a great new poster on for the Crit Roll fans out there on the page. If you guys check it out, it's basically the 5-year anniversary poster. Fantastic. I believe one of the Critter um, like just big fans and artists that they've worked with a few times now. In fact, I mean his art style I've recognized from seeing like when they roll the artwork past and during the credits and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all the characters from both seasons and a lot of the supporting characters
Yeah,
that Matt has created.
bunch of the NPCs. Like, is it Victor, the black powder guy?
Yeah, Victor's in there.
Yeah.
It looks like
Powder? You want black
is in there.
powder?
Yeah, exactly. Pumatsol is in there,
Yep.
and of course we've got some of the other the Daring Tarrington Brigade, the characters from that one shot that they did.
The gentleman.
Right.
A bunch of people.
The Ruby of the Sea.
Yep.
All kinds of stuff. It looks really great.
Yeah, a bunch
it's
of the
like
gods.
$25. Yeah, and the gods are up at the top there. You know, thanks Dresden. Jeez. So yeah, it's about $25 if you guys are fans. It's a pretty awesome poster.
But yeah,
So what else did you want to what do you want to get into first? Let's go over the comic book stuff real quick.
Okay. Of course, more coronavirus news.
Yeah. So okay, Diamond Distributors. Diamond is basically the company that distributes all comic book periodicals across the board. I mean, they pretty much have a monopoly on it. There are no other companies that are big enough really to handle it. But they handle pretty much, like I said, all of the distribution. Dresden. All of the sorry guys, pretty much all the distribution for Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse, all of the smaller press books, Dynamite. They have said they closed due to coronavirus. They're like, we're closing for at least 2 weeks, and we're not going to be sending out any comics. Now, the comic shops are already struggling because of this. You know, as I had mentioned last week, comic shops operate on a very, very tight, most of them on a very tight budget. Missing a week or 2 weeks or a month of business is pretty devastating for a lot of these people, and some comic shops will be closing permanently because of this. Now, Diamond basically saying that we are not going to be sending out anything anyway. You know, the shops are going to be closed. Shops, they're not getting the new stuff anyway. Diamond's not going to be sending it out. Fine. But they're also saying that they're not going to be paying their vendors either, which I guess makes sense if they're not getting any product from their vendors, Marvel, DC, those kind of things. Why should they pay them? But like I said, it was a pretty, kind of like, hey, guys, just so you know, you're not getting any money from us. Marvel and DC both have stated, originally DC had stated that they were going to release the books that were supposed to come out tomorrow digitally, but now they're saying they are not. They're saying they're pretty much pushed back all books, the books that were supposed to come out this week, potentially on the last Wednesday of the month. So they're pushing everything back, and they're still kind of debating whether to go forward on digital distribution, but they did say at the very least this week they're not, and Marvel is also following suit. Marvel, let's see, Marvel Comics has confirmed to direct market comic book retailers that it will not be releasing any new comic books digitally on April 1st. The decision follows Diamond Comic Distributors' announcement last week that it would be suspending distribution of new print titles beginning April 1st, including Marvel's titles. So it looks like the big companies are choosing to support the retailers, which is really great. That's something that needs to happen. The comic industry is kind of built. The backbone is the comic book shop. Sure, you can buy comic books and graphic novels at or at least graphic novels at a bookstore and few other venues, but comic book shops are really where it's at. And I mean, if they go away, it's going to dramatically change the industry. You know, like I said, this entire situation is changing everything. I did see as well that apparently the executives at Disney have chosen to forego. Let's see, Bob Iger he's foregoing his salary, and other Disney execs are taking a pay cut for Corona relief. So that's pretty fucking cool, you know? I mean, these guys, granted, these dudes are fucking rich.
Yeah.
They miss a month of fucking pay. They're not even going to fucking feel it. You know, these guys are making, you know, hundreds of thousands, if not millions, if not billions of, you know, well, millions at the very least. Bob Iger is stunningly rich. So,
Yes.
But yeah, they're pretty much, in light of this, we are going to be implementing a variety of necessary measures designed to better position us to weather these extraordinary changes. Among them, we'll be asking our senior executives to help shoulder the burden by taking a reduction in pay effective April 5th. All VPs will have their salaries reduced by 20%. SVPs by 25%, and EVPs and above by 30%. It looks like as it goes up, they're actually cutting more.
Yeah.
I will be
but they feel it less.
Yeah. I will be taking a 50% reduction in my salary. The temporary action will remain in effect until we foresee a substantive recovery in our business. Our executive chairman, Bob Iger, has chosen to forego 100% of his salary. So this is coming from the new guy, the new Bob Chapek, the new Disney CEO. Because Bob Iger is like the executive chairman, company executive chairman.
Yeah.
And then the Disney CEO is Bob Chapek. So, you know, hey, fucking awesome. That's really great.
Yeah.
You know, these guys that are so unbelievably rich that, you know, they can help. I don't know. By taking those cuts, they're probably making so that other people don't have to like lose their jobs or whatever. So
right.
It's pretty cool. So anyway, so that is that's that kind of news. So Diamond, at the very least, I think it was DC Comics that also stated that they're looking into potentially self-distributing if Diamond doesn't step up to the plate eventually. By the time DC is ready, then DC may be self-distributing. How they'll do that, I have no fucking idea. But thankfully, like I said, Marvel and DC are both backed by very big companies that can probably weather this, you know, fairly easily if need be. Marvel being owned by Disney and DC being owned by Warner Brothers, AT&T, whatever. So
that conglomerate.
That very, very big conglomerate, yeah. Let's see, DC changes. What else? Okay, so big movie news.
Yeah.
Big movie change news. Kind of sucked. Sony has moved back their movie slate a bit. The Morbius movie, which was supposed to come out later this year, has been pushed back. Actually, supposed to come out this summer, I believe. Has been pushed back to 21.
Yep.
As has the new Ghostbusters.
Yeah, and that bummed me out. Morbius, I really wanted to see too, but the Ghostbusters one, that was one of the movies when I saw that trailer, I was like, oh yes, I cannot wait for this movie.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the Morbius film, for those of you guys who don't know, Morbius is a Marvel character. Morbius, the living vampire, a character who was a vampire who was basically created by science. And the movie, I believe it is going to take place in their Spider-Man Venom universe.
Yep.
For that Sony has created.
Which Morbius made his premiere in Spider-Man, I believe.
Correct. Morbius was technically, because he is technically a Spider-Man supporting character, Sony got first crack at him. Jared Leto is playing the signature character. The trailer looks pretty cool, so we'll see how that plays out. But yes, March 19th of 2021 is what they've pushed it back to. They've also pushed back...
Just under a year now.
Just under a year, correct. They've also pushed back the Ghostbusters film, which, like you were saying, you were pretty bummed out about. So am I. I don't see I don't know if they've actually revealed a date for that yet, but it is. That's a big bummer too. Now, some of the other movies, thankfully, have not been canceled, but have been pushed back. Well, actually, the New Mutants has been pushed back, but there's no new release date.
Yep.
And the Black Widow has also been, put on hiatus. Basically, no new release date has been announced, but they're saying that potentially it could be released on Disney Plus. I believe we might have talked about
Yeah.
that.
And I think that's because they've got a end scene that leads into the next movie, and that's why
Right.
they can't wait on that, even though it's a prequel.
Right.
It
But because that's the thing,
well, not really a
the next
prequel,
Marvel,
but it's pre now in the MCU.
right? Exactly. Because yeah, the next film, which is the Eternals on November 6th, is still on schedule for November 6th. So hopefully that will be taken care of. I would imagine that within the next, since everything is being pushed back and everything is being, adjusted, there will be some date, in the near future, probably in July or August, where they'll actually release it.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that we've got the Falcon and Winter Soldier coming up, which there could be a tie into that at the end of Black Widow. We've got WandaVision coming up.
Several things that have actually been pushed forward because of this. The WandaVision and I believe Falcon and the Winter Soldier we may be seeing sooner than they had originally talked about. Yeah. I believe Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they did pause production on that at the moment because they were filming out of the country. But yeah, there have been a number of changes that have been made. Also, like there was another Sony Marvel film has been pushed back as well to the untitled Sony Marvel sequel in 3D, presumed to be the Venom sequel, has been added to October 2nd of this year. So I don't know if that's still...
I saw something earlier saying that we should be getting a Venom 2 trailer soon.
Yes. Yeah. Hopefully. I don't know. I didn't see Venom in the theater. I did see it. I added it to my collection. I bought it. It actually, it was all right. It was all right. I was glad.
If you take it out of the context of it being actually a Venom movie and make it into a movie about a creature called Venom,
correct,
then it was okay. But putting it into the whole Venom Spider-Verse thing just didn't work for me.
I was not a fan of the fact that Spider-Man was not in the film, and it was kind of a bummer. But if they're able to tie him in later, we got good writers. Hopefully, we'll see. But yeah, let's see. Hi, look, so we're getting some. People are commenting, so that's really cool. Rich is. Hey, Rich, how's it going? He's got. He put in some Critical Role, Critical Role things in the chat. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I saw those. It comes in like in flashes for me, and then when I go to actually type something back, it like doesn't show it because it's really laggy. So I'll have to play around with that and see what I can do.
All right. We're also Morbius may lead to a Sinister 6 movie, so that could be cool. I'd be really cool to see that. That'd be really awesome. Steve just mentioned that.
Oh yeah, actually that just came in for me.
Yeah. So Morbius, and now thankfully Wonder Woman did get pushed back, but only till August. So hopefully we will see. We'll see. We'll have that at least. Oh, yep. Excuse me. Jason Reitman's Ghostbusters Afterlife, which was moved from July 10th of 2020 to March 5th of 21. So both Morbius and Ghostbusters in the same month.
Yeah, it's going to be an early summer movie run next year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is going to be a weird thing, man. We're going to be seeing a lot of weird shit. So we should move on.
Yeah, well, so we've been talking about all this stuff that the coronavirus has been causing issues with and everything like that, and how it's changing life as we know it.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I will say that I blame the coronavirus for is because people are so goddamn bored because they've already watched everything there is to watch on Netflix and shit. Is the most popular show that I'm hearing about. I'm seeing everybody posting about it. I haven't watched it, but what the fuck is Tiger King? And why is it so goddamn popular?
Oh my God! All right, it is. I've been describing it in this fashion for the last couple of days on Facebook. Stella and I, we binged the first half of it, and then finished it up yesterday. And it was a horrendous, spectacular, horrible, amazing train wreck that you cannot stop watching. It is stunning just how ridiculous the show is. It's about, basically, for those of you, for the 5 people who maybe haven't watched this yet, it's about a guy. Yeah. It's about a guy, it's mainly about one dude, but it's several people together. It's about these people that are zookeepers that basically have big cat, kind of small zoos, not like the Detroit Zoo, although some of these zoos are still pretty big. And it's about the controversy of raising and breeding tigers and other big cats for the use for profit situations. One of the bigger things that they do are cub petting. So where you can basically go and you can hold a tiger cub or a lion cub and pet it and feed it and interact with it. And basically how bad that is. Because apparently, a tiger like that or lion like that is only viable to do that in the first maybe 3 months of its life. After that, it becomes too big, too wild, and eventually really too dangerous to hand to just anybody to hold and whatever. So then after that happens, you got a tiger, and what do you do with it? So when Stella and I went to the big cat rescue in Tampa, which is featured prominently on this show, we did see it was a lot of this was explained to us about how dangerous these kind of roadside zoos are, and about people keeping these big animals, these big cats, because they're not like a dog. I mean, when you really look at it, when you think about it, you take the behavior of a house cat, and you take anybody's house cat and make them 100 times bigger. I mean, and that even isn't even saying. I mean, you might have a 6-pound cat, and you make a 60-pound cat. That's nothing. Look at a 300-pound cat, and see if those cats do some of the same things that your house cat does. That's some destructive shit and could be dangerous. And that's what these cats do. A cat is still a cat, even if it's a house cat or if it's a tiger or a lion. I mean, they have many similar kind of attitudes. And so anyway, it can be very dangerous. Now you've got a big cat you don't know what to do with that costs $3,000 to $5,000 a year. $3,000 to $10,000 a year to feed. And so anyway, the Big Cat Rescue in Tampa is a hands-off kind of place. They bring in these animals, they give them a place to live, they take care of them without molesting them, or you can't go in and pet them, that kind of thing. They give them a place to live until they die. Joe Exotic, who's this very charismatic man that lived in Oklahoma, basically did the opposite. He had this big for-profit zoo where you could go in and you could pet them and you could basically play with them and all these other things. He had other animals too, but the big cats were what he was famous for. So anyway, a war started between Carol Baskin, who created the Big Cat Rescue in Tampa, and Joe Exotic, who created this place his zoo in Oklahoma. And there's just the back and forth war between them. Mainly, honestly, it aggressively was perpetrated by Joe Exotic. He had his own television show on the internet back at the beginnings of when this stuff was going on, when streaming television shows were created, where he would basically just go on and talk about how much he hated this woman, how much he wanted her dead. He would go on and on about that he was, I wish she was dead, and he would he would pull out a gun and shoot a mannequin with a wig on it to make it look like her. He recorded songs, country songs, talking about how evil she was. Apparently, that's the other thing. She was a major suspect in the disappearance of her husband, her first husband. Carol Baskin's first husband disappeared. He was a millionaire in the Tampa area, and he disappeared under mysterious circumstances. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, she fed him to the fucking tigers,"
I was gonna say.
because she is nuts. I mean, everybody's nuts in the show. Everybody's fucking nuts, like crazy pants nuts. Joe Exotic is this gay polyamorist, in that he gets you can tell that his husbands were, at least one of them was a serious meth head. Like, his teeth were all jacked up. It was so funny. They would talk to this guy, and he was sitting there being interviewed for a documentary series on arguably the most popular, biggest streaming service in the world, and he's sitting there shirtless with his no teeth, and he's got all his tattoos on view and everything. And it was revealed eventually that Joe's two husbands really weren't gay; they were just getting lots of weed and meth, And he had basically. It showed just how much of a villain this guy really is, because he took advantage of people that had just gotten out of jail, and that were homeless, and he would bring them on and hire them, and they would live and work on the zoo for like $100 a week, and next to nothing. He would feed them and shit. Room and board was included, but they weren't making much. They were at one point. One of the ways they would also feed the cats when maybe some of the meat was less plentiful, they would get donated meat from like the local Walmarts and stuff, things that they couldn't sell anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, they'd gone beyond their expiration date or whatever. They were probably fine or whatever, but they couldn't sell to the public anymore. So the guys that worked there got first pick off of this truckload of sausages and lunch meat and hot dogs and whatever else that they could eat first, before it was fed to the cats. It was mind-boggling. Okay, so you got this guy Joe Exotic. Now, Joe Exotic eventually ended up going to prison because it turned out that he tried to have Carol Baskin in Tampa murdered. He tried to pay to have her killed. I'm kind of cutting it when I'm paraphrasing, but it was discovered that, like, more or less. Now, he says that he was framed by this other guy, that Jeff, that had come in and had taken over the zoo with the intent of like saving it, because Carol Baskin had sued Joe Exotic for enough money that he was eventually gonna have to just turn over the facility to her, because he couldn't pay her what he owed her from the court case. So Jeff came in. He was this guy who was supposed to be rich and had a bunch of money or whatever, and he was supposed to come in and run it better and all this other shit, and it just it turned into this whole clusterfuck catastrophe of ridiculousness. And Joe tried to hire one of Jeff's maintenance guys to go down to fucking Florida and kill her, and this guy went. He took Joe Exotic's money and basically just went and hung out at a strip bar for 5 days, and just basically was like, "Fuck this guy! I'm not gonna go kill this broad." And it was mind-boggling. And so he was arrested, and he was just charged with conspiracy to commit murder or all this other shit. He got 80 years, he got 22 years, because he was originally charged with that, but then they charged him with a bunch of cases of animal cruelty. So he was charged with 19 cases of animal cruelty, because they found bones, tiger bones, and tiger skeletons and stuff buried on his property. And he was saying I had to euthanize them every once in a while. That's what happened, if they get sick or whatever. And like I said, it just was this unbelievable, like craziness. One of his husbands accidentally killed himself.
Accidentally.
Yeah, accidentally. He shot himself in the head. No, I think it was an accident, babe. All right. Well, we're live right now, so we can debate it later. But it looked like what it is the kid was like swinging a gun around, pointing his gun around, because he was a young guy. He was this young guy, and he said he's pulled this gun. Had this gun. He goes, no, this gun won't fire. It doesn't have a clip in it. He doesn't. He held the gun up to his head and to like show that it wouldn't fire, and bang, and killed himself in front of one of the other guys that was just working there, and he was this young guy too, young. It was really sad. So then the other thing, it gets better. This shit gets better.
Wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. So you got Carol Baskin, who has been accused and is a suspect in the murder of her husband. She is, I mean, if you see her, she's literally crazy sauce. Then you got Joe Exotic, who is this tattooed, pierced, gay polygamist from Oklahoma. He ran for president. He did, and a libertarian ticket in Oklahoma. After that, when of course he didn't win, he ran for the governor under the libertarian ticket for Oklahoma. He didn't win. The dude is crazy sauce, right? Then there's this other guy, Doc, who owns another kind of zoo of a similar type that's in Myrtle Beach. This guy is also a polygamist, and he has created essentially a sex cult surrounding these, involving with these, basically bringing in women to work at his zoo, and they become his lovers. And it was like they interviewed a young woman that had started working there when she was like a teenager, and then once she got actually like 17, 18 years old, started working there, and then eventually became one of his girlfriends, and he's got like 4 women that like just live and work there, and they have this like, they're all kind of dressed sexy, and they do these cat shows where they're they're doing tricks with the cats and trying to educate people about it. And it's like it's nuts. This guy uses like basically pseudo-religion and the appeal of working with big cats to bring in these vulnerable women to work for him for like it's like $150 a week, while they also live on his zoo and work. He drove around showing that, like, oh, this my partner over there lives at that house, and my other partner over here lives at this house, and the other partner over. It was, holy crap, incredible. Like, what? At least that guy, this guy Doc, he seemed the least crazy of all 3 of them, because he was almost like amazed at how ridiculous the conflict between Joe Exotic and Carol Baskin was. I mean, I saw a drinking game. Somebody posted a drinking game for this. Like, you take a drink every time every time Joe says Carol Baskin. You'll be hammered halfway through an episode. You take a drink every time you see somebody without a shirt on. You take a drink every time you see Carol Baskin riding her bike. It's oh my God, dude, it is worth watching. Just the ridiculousness of it. It's really next level, and it is. I think it's kind of it's almost the salve that our country kind of needs right now. Like, we're so worried, we're all freaked out about different things, and about how this whole the country is being affected by the quarantine, about everybody's worried about their jobs and worried about money and making rent and making their mortgage payments and their car payments and everything else. And then you've got Tiger King and you've got this on Netflix, and I mean, it was being viewed by so many people. Apparently it slowed down the servers. Like, it's trending number one on Netflix right now.
And if you look at our chat, there are multiple people that say they will not watch it.
Whew, it's worth it. It's worth it. What else are you doing? It's just so dumb and ridiculous and amazing.
I will say this. I'm going to give Pete some big props. He signed up for DC Universe.
I think we lost you.
Oh, no, I'm here. I'm here. Can you did I lose you, Russ? I see you.
I see you. Okay. Well, we're back. You and I are back, but I don't know. There's nothing. It's I'm not seeing anything on the Twitch stream. I'm reloading.
Oh.
Okay. I'm back now. We're back.
I think it was you.
It was me. I didn't see anything on the Twitch stream.
But no, I was looking at. Speaking of the Twitch stream in the chat, this is one of the things I wanted to do was actually get people involved. So and actually react to some of the stuff that's in the chat. So I want to say Wise Beyond, good job. That's Pete. He signed up for DC Universe, the free trial.
Oh, awesome! Awesome.
He just finished binging the new Harley Quinn show. He said he's gonna.
I gotta finish watching that.
I do too.
I'm like the last couple episodes.
Yeah, Renee and I started watching it again, and I'm like, God damn, this show is so wrong, but I can't stop fucking laughing at it.
It is genius. I mean, they're so great. It's so great how they the writing on it is really, really great.
But yeah, so
well, to finish up, guys,
yeah.
Tiger King. If you want to see something absolutely ridiculous, now, I mean, I thought it was going to be something hilariously, like, just kind of silly and funny. I mean, it is silly, but it really shows, like, it can educate you on the plight of the tiger. The fact that there are over 10,000 tigers in captivity in this country, but there are only about 4,000 in the wild. There's some stuff on the show that's actually pretty educating, and it really goes to show like some people are heralding this guy, this Joe Exotic, as this kind of weird hero. He's not. He's a fucking monster, and he's in prison and he needed to be. And all these people are kind of ridiculous individuals, but it's something. It's really really something.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my stream chat just kind of reset, so I didn't see any of the.
Well, Pete was asking
here
for other suggestions. He said he's going to keep it around for another month to watch season 2 of Harley Quinn and Titans and Doom Patrol.
Titans, Doom Patrol. He can. I'd say also, of course, Young Justice, and then also at the end within a couple of
Young
weeks.
Justice was fantastic.
Yeah, and then you also got in May. I think it's May. You got Stargirl starting up. Now, Stargirl is also going to be on the CW. It's going to be on the DC streaming service first, but then it's going to go. Then the next day it'll be on the CW. But Stargirl looks pretty cool.
So I'm sure there's a lot of other stuff that we could get into, and I'd love to, but I think at this point, I mean, we're about 54 minutes in. I think we need to start talking about Picard.
Yes, we got to pick apart Picard. So, guys, we are going to be reviewing the final 2 episodes of this season, the first season of Picard. We decided because since they were part 1 and part 2, might as well put them together there. So, if you haven't seen them, this may be your opportunity to get the fuck out, because
but we don't want you to leave.
We don't want you to leave. But if you don't want spoilers, then I would say this is the opportunity. Now, to remind you guys, the Picard is free on the streaming app right now.
Oh, we just lost Ed. He's like, and that's my cue.
The show is free on the streaming app, on the CBS app. You do have to make an account, but you don't have to pay anything. You don't have to start pay anything for it yet. You can stream the entire series of Picard, all 10 episodes. They also do offer like a 7-day trial period or whatever too. So Wow. I mean, it was heavy, man.
Oh
It
yeah.
was really, really fucking heavy.
Well, I mean, so we
Uh,
start off with them on La Serena,
yes.
flying through the Borg uh, conduit or whatever they call it.
Transwarp conduit.
Yes, and you're seeing that it's not a smooth ride.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not rough,
Yeah.
really bouncing around. And it's
And
like, oh God,
the only one that appears to actually be having a problem with it though is Agnes.
is Agnes. Agnes did not deal well with bumpy space travel. You could definitely tell she was somebody who had not gotten out and about much, beyond the stars. It sounds like she probably stuck to Earth a lot.
Yeah.
So, and it was interesting to see that too, because most of the time when you did encounter somebody on Star Trek, it was, it was somebody that was a seasoned space explorer
Yep.
or space traveler. You didn't. They made it so commonplace, like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna hop over to, wherever.
Yeah, we're just gonna take
I'm just gonna
a warp
to
jump
this
to
place.
yeah, we're gonna take a warp jump over to Bajor or over to Vulcan.
Beta Z
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah, it was no big deal. I'll bet some of those places were probably pretty popular, vacation spots. Beyond
Risa.
just not everybody just goes to Risa.
Yeah, let's say over to Risa.
It's a they'd go to other places, but yeah, she was obviously not much of a traveler and had never encountered, and then again at the same time, I mean, she was encountering like space battle and shit too, so that's got to be pretty harrowing. Yeah, it was funny, like when they got out of the transwarp conduit, Rafi looked over at Soji and went, "Wow, honey, that was really great job. I'll never do that again."
Yeah.
She was great. I actually really liked Rafi, particularly in the later episodes, as she actually kind of got her shit together a little bit more.
Yeah, at the beginning I was kind of like, she's just kind of annoying.
Yeah.
And then later on though, these last like 3 episodes, she's been a lot better. I actually became a Rafi fan in these last 2.
Yeah. Because it seemed to me like she kind of like got everything, got her brain together, figured things out. I mean, she realized she fucked up with her son, and maybe after she kind of got more into the idea of what she needed to do with Picard and in this mission, kind of centered her brain on that. It seemed like more like she just came to terms with it, and then was able to kind of be effective at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't just this drug-addled drunk person that obviously is screaming for help.
Yeah.
So they arrive.
Yep.
They arrive at her home planet.
Yep. And Narek pops in right behind him, and they realize he's there.
Yeah. That son of a bitch.
And then shortly afterwards, the cube shows up.
And then the cube shows up. You're like, holy fuck balls, yeah. Well, that was a surprise. And they're like, wait a minute, wasn't that thing, like broken? Not anymore.
Yeah, and then
I'm really glad that Seven was not just in that one episode.
Yes.
Or that, she did show up quite a bit, and I was really, really, really glad for that, because I really liked her in this.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked her in this. I mean, if any character, I mean, granted, she and Picard were really the only 2 we saw regularly, for the most part. You saw Data in flashback, and then you saw Data in the final episodes and stuff. But
we saw Will and Deanna.
We saw Will and Deanna, but that was one episode and that kind of thing. But I think Seven really became kind of a part of the show, and I was really glad to see that.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping that she's still a major part of it next season. In fact, from what we saw in the finale, we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. It looks like she might be.
Yeah.
So, but we'll get to that in a minute. So the Borg cube pops up. Yeah.
Yeah. Picard shares. Is it before or after they actually wind up on the planet that Picard shares his diagnosis?
Oh, that's much later.
Okay.
But they wind up on the planet because they basically get attacked by these
Giant flowers.
flowers,
Yeah, giant
these
flowers.
giant orchids that basically pull the ships out of orbit and bring them, and they end up landing on what?
Steve just posted in the chat.
Oh,
Picard, you owe me a Borg cube.
yeah. They land on the planet because of because of these. It was the weirdest thing you'd ever see, like the weirdest defense kind of thing you'd ever see. It was like just these huge flowers coming up, off the planet,
and the whatever they are, the little things that come out of the orchids reach out like tentacles and grab the ship and pull them in.
Yeah, yeah,
and then basically pull them and kill their power and drop them to the planet.
Yeah, so the La Sirena and the Borg cube are both on the surface of the planet.
And Nerek's ship.
And Nerek's ship, yeah. It's funny. A friend of mine had said, posted something to the effect of like, I think that maybe they could turn the Borg cube into like a theme park. And it's like, it's a Borg world after all. Like, okay, that's just weird. We're already assimilated by Disney anyway. Why wouldn't it be?
But yeah, so once they're on the ground is when he actually shares his diagnosis.
Yeah. He kind of tells everybody, "Hey, I'm sick, and
I know it.
Don't, and I know it. Don't treat me any different. And if you start, the first way to piss me off will be to treat me like I'm fragile or that I'm dying or whatever."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's pretty awesome." For him to. I'm glad that he actually did. Finally reveal that to all of them. And I think it was Girardi was the one that figured it out because she had used an older style.
Tricorder.
Like tricorder.
Yep.
That had showed it. So, so they basically so they get their poop in a group. They all kind of all right. We've got to go. We've got to find.
Well, they got to go check out the artifact first.
Yeah, they went to go check out the artifact first, and then they were going to go to the settlement because they knew where the settlement was.
Synthville.
So they go. Yeah. So they go to the Borg cube, and that's when they encounter Elnor and Seven of Nine, and or actually wait, that's where they went first. And then, okay.
And then they still have long range scanners on the Borg cube,
right? And they're able to show that the Romulans are coming. Got about a day.
208, I think it was, something like that.
Yeah, like a screaming crap ton of Romulan warbirds on their way. Like holy shit. That was something, man. I mean, that's a lot of fucking ships. That had to have been, a good portion of the fleet, really, when you think about it. So they go to the Borg cube, and there's the reunion of friends, and yay, Elnor's here, and yay, and Seven of Nine is here, and they find out, unfortunately, that Hugh had been killed, and you see that they're trying to get the power back, and repairs are being made, and even on the surface of the planet, their repairs are being made too. You also see that thankfully, not all the XBs are dead. Too.
Yes,
it's a lot of them still.
Narissa hadn't killed them all.
Yeah. Now, I mean, it strikes me as that's honestly as a good place for a bunch of XBs to be on this planet where synthetic life forms are. Maybe the synthetic life forms can help them. I mean, obviously, the synths have developed like some pretty hardcore technology. They're pretty high. They're pretty advanced. I mean, when you think about a bunch of humanoids that are essentially data.
Mm-hmm.
All come together and are able to, create their own culture and their own science and whatnot. Shit, I mean, it no wonder they've got these weird flowers. Ow, Dresden. This is my goddamn dog, guys. I don't know if
hi, Dresden.
Period. Say hi. Can you say hi? Yeah. No? Okay. He's done. Um, so anyway,
So yeah, so they go to
what was
they
that?
go to Synthville,
They go to Synthville,
and
and at
Soji
first
so
like it's a warm,
well yeah,
reception.
and as they get closer and everything, a lot of Soji's memories start coming back.
Exactly. She, obviously she had been sent on a mission, essentially, and and she looked upon it as essentially a failure,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
And
But
they
yeah,
told
she'd
her,
been sent
no,
on a mission,
you succeeded.
right? And she does seem to be like the most advanced member of her race, essentially, because she looks entirely human. She doesn't have the golden skin or the yellow eyes, or
Yeah.
like you could tell that they had obviously kept getting better and better with it. You've got Data, who's the progenitor,
Mm-hmm.
but
Well,
they were getting better and better.
and that's where Dr. Alton Inigo Soon shows up.
And oh my god, that was so cool. I've always liked Brent Spiner. He's really fantastic. I've always felt that he was kind of an underused actor, and to see him in this role as Data's essentially his human brother was really, really fucking neat.
Yeah, well, he introduces himself as a mad scientist.
Yeah, and
he does it as a joke,
mm-hmm.
but that's serious. He is a mad scientist.
Oh, he kind of is. I mean, just like any of the Soongs, they were renegade scientists. I mean, if you go back and watch the the episodes of Discovery, no, not Discovery, of Enterprise, of Star Trek Enterprise, that featured it was Khan Noonien Soong's, not Noonien Soong, Dr. Soong, Data's father. It was his grandfather or something like that, and he was a renegade scientist that ended up working with a bunch of the what are they called, Khan. He ended up working with a whole bunch of the augments. That's what they called them, augments, the augmented humans. That was Khan from Wrath Khan and stuff. So, and he was kind of this renegade scientist that believed in making humans the best they could possibly be. And then after he got captured and sent to prison, he ended up going, well, maybe I should look into cybernetics or something like that. Maybe artificial intelligence is the way to go. And that was he was also played by Brent Spiner. So Brent Spiner apparently has to play all the Soongs and Data.
Yeah.
All the time.
Well, and so we've got Sutra, who's basically Soji with golden skin.
Yeah.
And she's actually the sister of, what was her name? The one that the captain met.
That Rios met.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Jana? Something
Yeah,
like that?
Jana. Yeah, it's Jana's sister. And she studied Vulcan
mind
culture.
meld. She figured out,
and
she knew how to mind meld.
I'm like, how the fuck does a synth life form know how to mind meld? How can they?
I don't know. That was a little weird for me too, because that's the thing. I would imagine that Soji is not, or Sutra, she probably is biological to some extent. I don't think just because she's got the golden skin and the yellow eyes, I would bet that she's at least partially biological. I would say a lot of those ones that they had met on that planet,
I didn't think any of them were actually biological.
No, I think some of them probably were. I think because it looked to me that they were, like I said, they kept trying to get better and better at it.
Well,
I
guess I don't understand how it is that the positronic brain can meld with a human brain. That's what I don't get.
Star Trek, brother. What are you gonna do?
Well, yeah,
it's in the script.
There's something I want to talk about at some point, not this week, but at some point I want to get into some stuff in Star Trek that I want to know how this happened. But we'll leave that for another show, maybe next week.
Okay. Okay.
But we'll leave that with a little tease.
I am a bit of a trekker, so
Yeah.
I might be able to answer these questions for you.
Well, that's fine. We'll talk about them next week.
Okay.
But because I don't want to get off on a tangent when we've got so much still to talk about with Picard.
Right. Exactly.
So she does the whole mind meld with Agnes so that she can get the vision, because she believes that the vision isn't actually meant for humans or Romulans or anything like that, that it's actually a message for synthetics.
Correct.
And she basically downloads it and gets the info, and it turns out that it actually is a message from synthetics to synthetics. It's from the ancient synthetics to the new synthetics, basically saying, hey, the organics are going to try and destroy you because they're afraid of your evolution. When this happens, call us. We'll come eliminate them.
And they took that, and particularly Sutra took that as like, oh, salvation.
Mm-hmm.
And now Picard and the rest, and not all of them went to the Synthville, basically. But Dr. What's her name? I'm blanking on her name again.
Which one? Agnes?
The doctor. Agnes, thank you. Picard and Agnes and Soji go, and they're basically eventually go from being like guests to being prisoners. Although Agnes is offered, like, she and Sung, they end up like working together on a golem. Like, he's making a body for himself, a body to transfer his mind into.
Because he's getting old.
Yeah, because he's getting old. Well, that, and I think too because he figures that once they know about these aliens coming, these alien AI coming to destroy everybody, he's like, I better become synthetic, you know. So he's creating. That's what she called it. Because called it a golem. So like he ended up working with her to help like kind of get it finished. And apparently, I mean, they were looking very much on her as like a mother figure for them. Particularly after like Soji had said to her, like, would you kill me now? Like in a previous episode, she's like, no. Now that I've met you, I would never. You're a work of art. You're a technological marvel, and that kind of thing. So anyway, they go from being like honored guests. Picard goes from being an honored guest to being a prisoner because he's like telling them, like, look, you can't summon these AI. They'll kill everybody.
Right.
Yeah, maybe you'll survive, but everybody else will die.
Right. And Picard basically says, let me be your advocate.
Yeah. I will go to them, and they will listen to me now, you know. Particularly after all of they figured out all of the various evidence that was left by these Tal Shiar agents and the Jatva and Jatvat, yeah,
the Jatva.
How they were. It was a massive conspiracy, you know, to stop synthetic life forms and whatever. But they don't listen.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, because they do end up capturing Narek.
Yep.
And he's a prisoner. And Soji or Sutra is so ready to have these alien AI come and save them that she knows she has to push her people in the right direction or in that direction. So she engineers the death of one of her people.
Arcana. Yeah.
Arcana. This beautiful,
very innocent seeming.
Yeah, exactly. And she ends up killing her. Or Sutra ends up killing her by taking like her earring and like shoving it in her eye.
The pin that she wore. She wore a hummingbird pin.
That's what it was. And like stabs it in her eye and kills her. But it makes it look like it's Narek that did it. Mm-hmm. And so then Narek escapes, and he's like, I got to do something, because he knows. It's interesting to note how Narek, you could tell Narek was tormented
Mm-hmm.
because he was definitely scared of what was coming. But you could see that he honestly did. I think he really liked Soji.
Yeah, I think he wound up caring for her no matter what he told his sister.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this guy was kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. He's part of he was basically a Romulan spy, part of a society that venerates spying and lying and everything else. And he's in, he's got his sister like pushing him and basically saying, listen, if you don't do it, I'm going to do it. And it's going to be a lot messier, which it did. And it got fucking messy because she ended up taking over. So he was it was tough for him. I mean, I didn't hate him like I hated Narissa.
Yeah. Well, she was the true villain of the.
She really was.
Of the
even
show.
Even more so than Commodore Commodore
O. Yeah.
Yeah. So Narek fucks off to the Borg cube, sneaks into the Borg cube, and he's able to get a bunch of grenades. And he runs into Narissa again because she's been hiding out.
Yep.
She was hiding out on the Borg cube, and he gets a bunch of grenades, and he goes back to he basically goes to the La Serena, and they had given. Oh, that's right. They had actually showed up, and I think it was Arcana. She was the one that gave them that tool that they could use to basically fix their ship.
Yeah, the imagination tool.
Yeah, it was some kind of interesting. Like she goes, you got to use your imagination, and it basically read what they needed, and then used probably nanotech to basically build and fix what they needed. Nothing like a Deus Ex Machina to kind of like. That's the thing Star Trek is kind of famous for, is having those kinds of things, like, a device that just miraculously fixes shit. One of those things that I've always kind of had little problems with, but what are you going to do, So they fix the ship, yay, and then he's like, they spot Narek like throwing rocks at the ship trying to get their attention. And so that they're like, he's like, look, I could have been throwing grenades at you, but I need your help. Yeah. We need to team up. So you get the villains and the heroes teaming up together
to beat the other villains.
To beat the real villains, because they're building a.
At this point, they've put Picard under arrest.
Mm-hmm.
They've got Agnes working with Sun to finish his golem.
Mm-hmm.
And Soji is working with what's her face?
Everybody else, essentially,
to build the array that will call the
monsters,
the ancient synths.
They're building. She's building a portal to bring the demons in,
yes,
basically.
Yeah,
because that's how Narek kind of describes them as a bunch of demons, essentially. Yep. Because he associates them with Romulan mythology, which is really horrible too. Because at one point he ends up describing how horrible the myth is. Like it's horrible. Yes, and these demons the streets will run slick with the blood and the entrails of children and all this other shit. And you're like, what the fuck? Boy, the Romulans don't fuck around when they have their apocalyptic mythos, man. It's crazy. So the crew of the La Serena, the rest of the crew, they basically go, all right, we're going to... and Narek is also, it's funny when Elnor shows up and Narek is like, I very much wholeheartedly choose to live. Yeah. Please don't kill me. Yeah. And Elnor's just like, make a fucking move.
Please.
Make a fucking move. His fucking sword. So you got Space
Legolas.
Space Legolas there, yeah. So anyway, they team up and they make out like Elnor and Narek and the rest of them. They bring Narek back to the Synthville and say, hey, look, we've got a prisoner. And they sneak in using his soccer ball, using Rios' soccer ball, they sneak in the explosives
Yep.
to try and what they're going to need to destroy this signal tower. And but at the same time too, they figure out that, like, I think it Captain Picard ends up going back to the La Serena. So they end up going back to Synthville. Like Rios and Rafi and whatnot, they go back to Synthville. And at the same time, Agnes and the captain
Well,
end
yeah.
up
So
going back to La Serena.
Agnes soon is trying to download Akara's memories or Arcana's memories,
Yeah.
and but he's like really tired or he needs to go check on something or something like that. And Agnes basically says, "You go, I'll take care of it." And she pops out Arcana's other eye
Yeah.
and uses
Which is why it made me think that she is at least partially biological, because it looked biological when she pulled it out.
But then she goes and uses it to open up the door to Picard's room, where he's held prisoner.
Exactly. So she you know, it's a jailbreak,
Yep.
and they get him. She gets him out, and she goes to, and they go back to the La Serena, and you know, but the other guys are already there. And Soong at that point has figured out that it was Sutra that killed her, and figured
because
out
the memories are finished, downloaded,
right,
and he sees it.
Yeah, he sees her kill her, and so that's when he kind of makes the decision, like, ah, man, I thought I did better. I thought I raised you better than this, you know. And that's when he changes sides. But then, so then you see Picard go up into space. He gets in the captain's chair and he's like, now I got to figure out how I can fly this thing.
I think I watched Rios.
Rios enough, because they've got to try and stop the Romulans at this point. And it's one ship basically against 200, and then they end up sending off the orchids. The orchids basically slow them down,
or whatever that they had.
Yeah, so the orchids kind of slow them down for a minute but the Romulans are ready to basically sterilize the planet, and then Captain Picard, they end up using the Picard maneuver. Agnes remembers, hey, wasn't there something called the Picard maneuver? And he goes, well, yeah, but you need to basically make it look like the ship is in two places at once. And
and it doesn't work here. And
it doesn't work here. And then she's like, but wait a minute. And they used the magic device that they had basically to create multiple versions of the La Serena to distract them. Because they know that the Federation is coming. They just don't know exactly when.
Right. They don't know how far behind the Romulans they were.
Right. And in the meantime, Picard is trying to... at this point, they've tried to bomb the signal tower, but it failed.
Yeah.
Picard is trying to and
soon comes Rios up threw the explosive at the tower, and Soji caught it. And then chucked it into the air to have it go off.
And that's the thing. And then like soon he goes up and he like he basically stuns Sutra.
Yeah.
And like turns her off essentially. And it was like, oh, what a, you know, because he was really bummed out. And then so Picard is trying to convince her and trying to convince Soji, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And he's like, I will give you my life instead. And so that's when he's like trying to sacrifice himself to stop the Romulans.
And she says, nope, can't do it.
Yeah. So she actually does activate the portal.
Yep.
And essentially, demons start coming out.
It opens a portal to hell.
To hell. And you start seeing these like arms these like mechanical kind of tentacle like arms reaching through this horrible portal.
It reminded me of the game Rifts. And all the tentacles that come through the rifts when they open.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It was creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit. And then thankfully
it was very
what
Lovecraftian.
Finally does happen.
It was very
Lovecraftian. Yeah. It was. I think even one of our friends kind of commented about it here. But hello, I'm Inigo Soong. You killed my father. Prepare to die. God damn it.
I thought the same thing when I saw his name.
Yeah, I did too, but you know. Anyways, God. That's why it's science fiction, exactly. So, but anyway, thankfully, right at the last fucking minute, what appears?
Thump, 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 thump,
The
thump, 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 thump.
boom, the entire fucking
Federation fleet.
Federation fleet, like
And they're
that
all
admiral.
Galaxy class ships too.
Oh yeah, they were all like. I mean, maybe I doubt. I bet they weren't all Galaxy class, but there were a lot of them, and they were dangerous. And I mean, the flagship was there,
Mm-hmm.
commanded by
Riker.
Captain Will Riker, which was pretty fucking awesome. Acting Captain Will Riker, blah, 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 blah. And it was great. I mean, there had to have been like 200 some odd ships there too. And when she said we're sending some ships, I didn't expect her to send like 200 of them. Anne Magnuson, who plays the Starfleet commander in chief, she was the one that kept swearing at him, kept telling him she needs to have her mouth washed off, with soap. It's like a filthy mouth, that lady.
Shut the fuck up, Picard.
She's like, respectfully, shut the fuck up, Picard. What the fuck? And that would crack me the fuck up, though. That was really funny. But yeah, she goes, we're going to be sending you some ships, and da-da-da-da. She sends, like 200 fucking ships, All right. Apparently it's a credible threat. And so, yeah, he shows up, and it was awesome. It looked like they were going to throw down, man. It looked
Picard
like it was...
Picard had also sent out the thing saying, hey, I have a first contact situation, and I need help.
Right. That's true. But still, even in a first contact situation, they're going to send half the fucking fleet. Okay? You're going to send a few ships, maybe. I'd say 3. It's... you don't send... But they must have figured something out because...
3 ships would have shown up there and gone, oh, shit, see ya.
Yeah, we're fucked now. Yeah.
We're going to jump away and then call in the rest of the...
Right. We'll clean up the mess after the fact. I figured that, Starfleet intelligence must have kind of figured out that Commodore O was, a spy, and like, oh God, we better go and
Riker
help these
addressed her directly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. At that point they knew, Commodore O, or whatever you call yourself, and I loved it.
I loved Riker as the captain of that ship too.
Oh, he was great.
He's just kind of leaning on the chair.
Yeah, he was doing the Captain Kirkland.
Yeah.
And and he's he basically dared her. Like, come on, I'm ready.
Make a shot.
I got 200 ships behind me, and they're all ready to go. He goes, got the most advanced ships here with me. Come on.
Yep.
And that was the other thing too, when you really think about it too. If you look at the lore, the Romulans have been in space for hundreds of years longer than we were. The humans were. I mean, the Romulans and the Vulcans had been spacefaring for at least 200 years before the humans had been. So their technology is sufficiently advanced.
Well, they got cloaking technology, and we didn't.
True, but that was the other thing too. Like, the reason why the Federation didn't use cloaking technology, it was part of a treaty, part of the treaty. So they weren't allowed to. Both the Klingons and the Romulans, we weren't allowed. The Federation was not allowed to use cloaking technology.
Well, that's the thing. The Klingon ships were actually Romulan ships. That's why they were birds of prey.
Right. Like, the Romulans landed on Klingon, and then the Klingons basically killed them and took the ship, and then so took their ships, and I mean, apparently the humans were a much younger spacefaring race than the other races, but yet we were able to, technologically be, somewhat comparable.
Yep.
So that's cool. So anyway, Commander or Commodore or Praetor or whatever, she basically tells them to stand down, and they leave.
Yep.
Because the Federation has claimed that planet as under their protection.
Well, in the meantime, Soji's had a second thought too. And second thoughts, and stops and basically destroys the tower.
The portal. Yeah.
And
and
closes the
thankfully,
rift.
before all the demons of hell, all the mechanical demons from mechanical hell, come screaming out of this portal to destroy all of the entire
Every
galaxy,
organic life form
every organic life form in this dimension. Yeah. So then we see Picard is already kind of sacrificed himself at this point. He knew he took like a drug that would kind of help him function, but knew it would hasten the end.
Right.
And so Soji beams him directly to the the surface of the planet, and he dies in front of everybody.
Yep.
And
it's actually a really touching moment.
Oh, it was extremely touching.
It would be more touching if we didn't already know that there was a second season.
Yeah, and if that had been his actual end, because I was getting choked up because it was a pretty powerful thing, and and he looks at Elnor, and Elnor is just like, devastated that his surrogate father is gonna die, and Rafi is tearing up, and I'm like, oh my god, and but at the same time, there's a part of me that's like, wait, there's another season.
Yeah.
And so then they...
what got me was that Will didn't get to say goodbye.
Yeah. But then they go and they... then you see like the reactions of some of the other people. Like you see Rios and Seven sitting... Oh, we almost forgot too. We had the best cat fight. That's a terrible thing to say, but the best fight between these two ladies, man.
Two badass women.
Narissa and Seven throw down in the Borg cube.
It was a short fight.
That was the thing.
But it was a good
fight.
Fight.
Narissa wanted to train the weapons from the Borg cube on the La Serena.
Yes.
And so that's what she was trying to do. And Seven stopped her. And I mean, they're tormented, they're fighting, and Narissa's, using psychological warfare to try and get into Seven's head, and calling her Annika and all this other shit. And then Seven just gets the jump on her and kicks her basically into the abyss.
Yeah.
And you just hear her screaming, ah! Down as she falls. Now, we didn't see her die. We didn't see a body.
No, that would be very Star Warsian.
Yes, it would be very Star Warsian. Correct. But, I mean, who knows? You could see her. And I don't remember seeing what happened to Narek at the end either.
No, that was one of the biggest issues I had, was they don't tell you what happens to Narek. He just disappears. So we're going to see Narek again.
There. Yeah, we're definitely going to see him again. She dies. She's apparently. And so yay for Seven of Nine. But anyway, so you see Seven of Nine and Rios kind of sharing a drink over what she goes, this is what passes for alcohol here. I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
But they're drinking it.
And he drinks it and he's like, ugh. And then he takes another drink.
He takes another drink. And you see Elnor break down with Rafi, and Rafi's like hugging him, and it was a powerful thing. And then you see Picard wake up in essentially the afterlife.
Yeah, it's like a very like Edgar Allan Poe-esque setting. It was very dark, and Data's there. Yeah.
And they basically have this wonderful kind of moment, the two of them saying goodbye to each other, because if I remember correctly, it wasn't something that they had the opportunity to do at the end of Nemesis when Data does sacrifice himself. And it was pretty touching. It was pretty cool. And so he's like, am I dead? And he's like, yeah, you're dead. And Data's like, yeah, you're dead. And he's like, oh, okay. And they're having this really great moment about how they actually did really care for each other. And Picard's like, you loved me. And he's like, of course I loved you. And all this other stuff. And it was really, really, I mean, just really, really heart-wrenching. And it turns out that it's not the afterlife, and that Picard is essentially in a
computer program.
A computer program, a simulation, where Data's mind had been reconstructed.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, his mind and personality had been reconstructed from the various bits and pieces and parts that they were able to bring back together, and that he was kind of living in this limbo. And one of the last, and then a light goes on, a door opens behind Picard, and he's like, "Oh, I have to go." And Picard's like, or Data's like, "Before you go," and Picard's like, "I have to go," and he's like, "Well, yeah, you're gonna go, but when you go, can you please turn me off?" Because you basically he was asking Picard to pull the plug.
Mm-hmm.
And so then Picard wakes up.
Well, one of the things too that in their talk that was actually kind of cool was that that as they're talking, one of the things that Data says is peace, love, friendship. These are precious because we know they cannot endure.
Right. I mean, it was so touching. I mean, he basically explained that he wanted to die because it's part of the human experience,
yes.
part of the experience of life, and what did Data want more than anything else was be human.
Yep.
So it was so touching, and it brought me to tears. And I mean, like, I'm not ashamed to admit it. I was fucking bawling at the end there. I think it's what got me more than like the death of Picard, because I knew Picard was not dying. Was the fact that Data does go, and because he does get he gets out, and
Steve
just
mentioned too that Data could not remember his death.
Oh right, yeah, because those memories were before his death, correct? Yeah, so it's like so Picard wakes up and he realizes that they put him into Soong's golem, which was basically a biological new body, a new biological body.
No, it was a synthetic body.
Yeah, synthetic, but it was still a biological body. It's not.
I don't think so.
I think it was. He's like the same as Soji. Soji is a android that was created using biology, using biological. She's got a heart, and she has lungs, and she has those things. They're just enhanced. That's why she's got superpowers.
Well, I know that they did make it so that, and this I thought was just silly as fuck, that one of the things they engineered into the golem was so that it would look like Picard's original body, and it would still break down just like a human body.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, he even says at the end, it was like, oh, I wouldn't mind another 10, 20 years, And they kind of smile, because he was like, "You didn't make me immortal, did you?" And like, "Oh no, of course not," So yeah, I'm pretty sure that, because like I said, that's what Soji was. She was a biological android, and that's why he asked Dr. Jurati at the beginning, what would it take to make a biological android, and she was like 1,000 years. I mean,
yeah,
it's not. We're not there yet, but they apparently were. So I'm more or less, he's not like Data. He's not made out of metal and carbon fiber and stuff.
He is a synthetic life form now. He is free of his brain abnormality. And one of the things that I brought up when Renee and I were watching it was that also means that he's also free of his heart condition.
Correct. That's right. Because actually, it wasn't a heart condition. He had replaced, his heart had been replaced. Because he even talks about it. He's like, it'd be better to shoot me in the head, because if you shoot me in the heart, my heart's made out of titanium, So, when he was talking to Riker's daughter. So the most touching part was when he's taking the very end, they figured out, he's like, yeah, I've got a new lease on life, at least, for the next 2 years or whatever, next 10 years, 20 years. And he goes to basically the hard drive, for lack of a better term, that is holding Data's consciousness. And
what it really looks like is
it's
a bunch of flash drives that are plugged into this thing, is what it looks like.
Yeah, exactly. And he basically he turns it off as they're basically having a funeral for him.
And Nexus 6.
A Nexus? What's that?
Steve says it was a Nexus 6.
What was the?
I think that was the device.
Oh, the device. Yeah. Okay. And so the Nexus, they he's unplugging it. He's taking the components out, and inside, Data's like lying on a couch basically, and you see him
Yeah,
age,
like mummify.
like turn into an old man, and it was like it was so touching because you're seeing the death of a
Yep.
character. You're seeing a death of a friend there, and I was in tears. I was, I'm ugly crying as I'm watching this, and because I always liked Data. Data was always one of my favorites, and it was really something, man. I was. It was sad to see him go. I think you had mentioned to me earlier that Brent Spiner has. He said he's done playing Data now, but he will come back. He would come back to play
Soon.
soon.
Yeah.
And so that could be cool. But
So
it's it was a really great ending.
well, and then
to Data.
yeah, it was a great ending for Data, and then but that's not where the show ended.
No, I mean then they basically all get on the ship on the La Serena again,
And you see Agnes kiss Rios, who
Yeah.
she's still a fucking murderer.
yeah, I know, right?
She still has
Yeah,
to pay
it was-
for killing Maddox.
Yeah,
I'm like, let's not
that
let
was
that go. But the
Now-
big one,
Now her defense though. Well, let me finish. Her defense on that would be that she had been manipulated by the Romulans, and because of the information that they'd given her, she thought that he needed to die because that they all needed to die. So she could maybe get a reduced sentence maybe for that. But
yeah, but still.
you were saying,
But
then the big one you
one
had
was
said.
Rafi and Seven holding hands.
yeah, like what the hell,
Because obviously some time has passed at this point. That was
little
one of
bit,
the things.
yeah.
They don't tell you how long. It's been weeks, maybe even months that they've been there.
I'd guess they'd probably been on the surface of that planet for a few weeks.
Yeah, but
Probably recovering, making sure that Picard was okay
Mhm.
and everything.
but then the seeing Rafi and Seven holding hands down in the mess hall
Mhm.
and kind of like interlocking fingers and things like
Right.
like,
Oh, that was very
yes,
romantical.
it was very. It wasn't just like a friends supporting each other. No, that was very romantic.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, I don't know. Why could they not give Data a mortal body as well and let him live out a mortal life? I don't know, Steve.
I don't think Data wanted it.
I don't think he wanted it either. I don't think he wanted another body. Plus, on top of it, too, they might not have been able to download his consciousness the way, because it was fractured or whatever.
Well, they had basically built everything from one like neuron of
Right.
his positronic brain.
Well, my guess is they probably had been able to get like components like from B4 and from maybe lore or whatever. They've probably been able to reconstruct it from a lot of different resources. But
You wouldn't want Lores.
I wouldn't want lores, no, for sure. So anyway, but yeah, that was interesting to me. Like, I mean, you figure that far into the future, sexuality is probably pretty fluid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the
Normally,
idea
in the future settings, they tend to make it very fluid.
Yeah,
Especially
that
now.
was the thing. When Star Trek The Next Generation was on, or any of even going all the way to Voyager, they didn't really deal with same-sex partners or whatnot. But now that the newer shows have been going on, like Discovery and Discovery, hell, one of the main characters is gay, and then, or actually two of the main characters are gay. So they didn't really, have never really dealt with it, but you got to figure that it's pretty normalized. I would imagine it would be a pretty normalized kind of situation that far into the future. And so to see them like Rafi and Seven creating a relationship, it's not going to be weird for them. It's just interesting that it had never been really explored in the past, that maybe that would be a preference or even a possibility with Seven of Nine. So I loved it. I was like, oh, that's awesome. but yeah, and then they all get on the ship, and they were basically okay. Now they're all going to go and be a crew. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's what it looks like. Because
what's
everybody's
next,
there. Elnor's there. Soji's there.
Yeah.
Seven and Nine's there. Rafi, Rios, Agnes. There. That the entire cast is there.
And you got to figure, like maybe Seven. They had to have been there for a few weeks. So maybe Seven set up the Borg cube there on the planet.
So Steve actually just brought up DS9 had Dax in a gay relationship before she married Worf.
Yeah,
and,
but
that was one of the things. I actually saw an article on this, and they talked about that Jadzia Dax was technically them handling transgender.
True.
In a very respectful way, well before that was a regular thing.
Yeah, you're right, because and Steve is right too. She attempted to have a relationship or whatever because because of the Dax symbiont, and had been different genders and over the lifetime they kind of dealt with it, but it was still never really like dealt with long term in a lot, as opposed to in Discovery where you've got the Doctor and I can't remember the scientists that created the spore drive are husbands, are a couple. So major characters, parts of the show. So I'm just glad that they're dealing with it. I think it's really, really cool.
I do too. And I think we should probably start wrapping things up.
We probably should start wrapping it up, guys. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for joining us for
a little bit longer episode, but it was kind of fun. It was fun.
It was very fun. And thanks for joining us on our very first Twitch stream. Guys, we're going to probably be doing this for the foreseeable future, at least until, we might even, if this continues to work out, we could even do it while I'm in studio and stuff.
Yeah, we just have to set it up for multiple video cameras, which we can do.
Or just a wider screen, or whatever, just kind of a wider thing,
Well, I don't want to go back to sitting that close to each other like we did in the first few episodes when we were sharing the mic.
Well, no, God, no. You don't think we couldn't still have our separate mics?
Yeah, we could. It was just a joke about sitting close together.
That was too intimate, man. I love you, but man, come on, there's limits.
But
yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. Hey, be sure to tell your friends about us, or if you liked it.
Next week,
whatever,
8:00 Eastern time, same thing.
Yep. Whatever you can, and we're always open to suggestions about what we can do to make the show better. We want to have guests on some more. I'd really like to once this is all over. I don't know. I think we're going to be doing more socializing, and so we can have more people in the basement more often.
Even with this, we could still do guests. It's just Skyping them in. It honestly, it's not that difficult, and even for this streaming wise, we can move the screens around and have multiple guests.
Exactly. All right. Well, on that note, guys, we are available at all the places that you can find quality podcasting. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on iTunes, the Google Play Store, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, radio.com, and of course, you can stream and download the episodes at www.nerdswithalcoholshow.com.
And we are also on all the most of the social medias. We are on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show. We are on Twitter, @DrinkingNerds. We are on Instagram, Drinking Nerds. We are on Untapped. Just search for Drinking Nerds, and we will send you a friend request. And now we're on Twitch, Drinking Nerds. And
now we're on Twitch.
And actually, I plan on uploading this video to YouTube as well. So search for Nerds with Alcohol Show, and you should be able to find us on there.
Awesome. All right. Fantastic.
All right. Well, I think I'm like, what do we do now?
What do we do now?
All right. Well, I think on that note. Until next time. Slancha. That was pretty good. Have a good week, everybody.
Good night.